everyone. Thank you for joining us. Wow, it's going to be great tonight. Thank you again for joining us. So this is my Pain Your Game Ministries. Tonight, I'm here with a dear friend, and we're going to be speaking on the subject of life post-COVID-19. Life post-COVID-19. I've done a couple of videos previously this month because I've been looking at where will you be post-COVID-19. That's what I've been discussing. And tonight, we're just going to talk on the topic, life post-COVID-19. So tonight, I'm here with a sister, a dear friend, Ahuna. Ahuna, can you just say hello to our audience?
Hello, everyone. My name is Ahuna Nyanso. Great to see you, and thanks for inviting me on.
All right, good. So thank you again for joining us, and all of you that have joined us online. Thank you. It's great to have you around with us tonight. We believe it's going to be a great time. Today marks the 68th day of the lockdown in the UK. The UK have been in lockdown since the 23rd of March, and today marks the 68th day. And we believe that we are now getting to that season that we're coming out of lockdown. And very soon, COVID-19 will be a thing of the past. So we are here to discuss practical things that we can do as we prepare ourselves for the next season and as we get ready for life post-COVID-19. So are you ready for life post-COVID-19? Before we go on tonight, I'm going to just tell my guest here to introduce herself. She just told us her name, but we want to know a little bit about her. So Abuna, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So my name is Ahuna Nyanso. So I'll introduce myself in order of priority. So first of all, I'm a child of God. I'm also a mother to 3 gorgeous children. I've got Chimdi, who's 15, Obi Chim, who just turned 13, and Janelle, who's 4. In terms of my background, I was a scientist, a research scientist, who then now goes in, I'm now in sales. So I have a degree in biochemistry and a master's in biotechnology. I'm the daughter to late Chief Onyuko Nyanso and his wife, Florence Nyanso. I work for a global Swiss contract manufacturing organization. And I also like to read. I love reading. I love traveling. I love meeting people. And when I get the chance, I do like to go for a swim as well. So that's pretty much me.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for that introduction. It's good to have you with us here today again. Many of you may already know me, but if you don't, my name is Eyum Ejiga. I'm the visionary for my Pain Your Game Ministries. I am an accountant by profession and I'm an entrepreneur by nature. And I do a lot of other things. So we'll talk about so many other things. And I'm sure as we talk along in the discussion, you also get to know us better. So once again, thank you for joining us. So we're talking about life post-COVID-19. But before we go to life post-COVID-19, I want us to talk about how it has been during this season of COVID-19. So I'm going to ask you, how has it been for you? What has been your experience in this season of COVID-19?
Yeah, I think, the first sort of emotion probably is when it all kind of kicked off was sort of disbelief. I think a lot of us kind of, heard what was going on in China. We kind of thought, okay, it's really far away. It doesn't really impact me, doesn't affect me so much. And I think come January, come February, come March, it became more and more obvious that things were kind of, hurtling towards a possible lockdown. And, one of the things I remember the most was I was going in to have a meeting in London and I was on the tube and, I felt the cough kind of coming up and I thought, oh my gosh, I shouldn't cough. And I couldn't help it, I coughed. And this guy literally bound up from his seat and he jumped across to the other side. I'm thinking, well, if I was going to give it to you, you've already got it. But that was like, again, that sort of mania, that sort of fear factor. And once the lockdown actually set in, it was really, looking out of your window, when you have to go and do your essential shopping, seeing that there's absolutely no one on the road, it just begged belief. And I think that was the first sort of emotion and feeling. And then following up from that, they say it takes 3 weeks to form a habit. I think it took a bit longer. So 3 weeks on, we're still in shock. But slowly people started to get used to it. But then obviously other things were happening with people dying and the numbers going up. And, the other thing that came up as well in terms of how it made me feel was that a lot of people were going through the same thing all over the world. So you almost felt like the human compassion and the sort of human element, humanity, which we don't tend to see very much with all that's going on as we see it in the news and across the world. So those were the sort of things that really, jumped at me and made me feel emotion. I don't know about you, Adrian, what sort of things did you feel as it started to unfold?
Yeah, I think the COVID-19 experience it's been an experience that one can never forget. And I was talking to somebody one time, and the person said that if you look at it in a way, we're even privileged to have this experience because maybe generations may never experience what we've experienced. And to me, my biggest shock was unbelief. Because even though I know that this was really happening and I was part of it, but I still found it difficult to believe. Sometimes I need to pinch myself and say, is this really happening? I mean, you mean a whole nation can shut down, airports can shut down? When I'm originally from Nigeria, when I think of big cities like Lagos that is so busy that people are virtually running into each other, can be shut down and the streets are empty. So those things, for me, it just made me feel like, I don't know, it gave me maybe a full experience of what the end of the world would be like. Maybe I should put it that way. And then I was like, because I kept feeling, this is unbelievable, this is unbelievable. Yes, so I think it was more of unbelief to me. That is the experience I said I had. And of course, there were other things like getting used to working from home, the shutdown. It was a bit of a process, but I'm also somebody that I don't mind working on my own, and I do a lot of work on my own as well. So it didn't take me so much to adjust to that system of staying at home and not going out and working from home, even though it was different and even though you miss people. Yeah, but it didn't take me a lot to adjust to that. So that was my own experience in that aspect. So another question I want to ask you, Ahuna, is that going back and looking back on the experience we've had for the last 10 weeks, because it's about 10 weeks now that I've been in lockdown in the UK, what would be the greatest lesson that you say you have learned from this COVID-19 experience? What would be your greatest lesson?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Do I have enough time to say what my greatest lesson is?
Maybe just one.
I think the greatest lesson really is, and maybe not so much a lesson, more a reinforcement of something that I kind of know, is that the only constant thing in life is change. And I think what I was able to learn is that you have to keep on adapting to change. And what you thought was a normal way of existence, a normal way of doing things, could absolutely switch, in the moment. And you have to be prepared to be able to roll with those changes. So for me, that was the biggest reinforcement lesson that has come out of this, in my opinion. What about you?
Yeah, for me, I would say my greatest lesson is that it's just knowing that no condition is permanent, that things can change overnight. Because prior to COVID-19, if somebody told me, initially I said my biggest experience was the unbelief. So the greatest lesson is that, and I know that anything can change. Nothing is permanent. No government is permanent. No system is permanent. Just a tiny thing can trip people off their feet, and everything can change overnight. So I think my greatest lesson is knowing that things can change very quickly. Yeah, that's what I would say would be my greatest lesson. But I want to ask you another question again, and that question is that if COVID-19 was to be the end of the world, what would be your greatest regret?
I think, my greatest regret, if it was the absolute end of the world, is that I did not I don't feel like I've reached enough people. I don't feel like I've made an impact to enough people, supported enough people, been a blessing to enough people. I think that would be my biggest regret. I think, I could probably say that for my family, that I've poured everything I can into my family, but I think my biggest regret is not being enough of an impact to the wider community and the wider world.
Okay, yeah, okay. That's similar to what I was to say would be my greatest regret. And by the way, for everyone that have joined us, thank you so much for joining us. If you, the questions we are asking, you can tell us what your own greatest regret would have been if COVID-19 was the end of the world. For me, if COVID-19 was the end of the world, I would say my greatest regret would be that I would have left this world with music still in me. And what I mean by that is that actually it's a story of a woman that wrote about her dad that passed away. And she said the dad died with music still in him because the dad wanted to be a singer, but he never got to sing until he died. So when he died, he said, my dad died with music still in him. For me, it is not the natural music that we know because I'm not a good singer. And I'm sure if I produce an album, none of you is going to buy it, maybe except for my children that will buy it to just take it off.
I'll buy it.
All right, that would be great, yeah. So it will be people that are close that really love me that will buy it. So when I say I would have gone with music still in me, what I mean by that is that there are a lot of potential that I have in me. There are a lot of things that I wanted to do and I was actually working on previously, but along the way, in the pursuit of life, in the hustling and bustling of life, there were some things I abandoned. And this season of being in lockdown now and being in that quiet place helped me now to be able to come back to some of those things. And then I realized that there's a lot I'm supposed to be doing that I was not doing, even though I was doing them, but not maybe in the magnitude I should have done them, not with the focus I should have done them. And like I said, there were even some I abandoned. So for me, COVID-19 was a wake-up call to begin to maximize my potential, to begin to do the things that I believe I am put here on earth to do. Yeah, so that would have been my own greatest regret. Yeah, thank you so much for that. So what advice now do you have for somebody, people that are watching us right now? I'm sure they all have their own various experiences, they have their own various regrets as well. So for somebody that is watching us right now, what practical things can you advise them to do in this season? We know we're still in a lockdown, but we know that we're gradually getting out of lockdown. By Monday now, we move into the phase 2 of the lifting of the lockdown, and things are going to become pretty much normal. People are going to start moving about more. So for somebody now that has been in a situation, or maybe before I even go into that question, let me ask you, what practical challenges do you think people are experienced or have experienced during the lockdown? Yeah, because I know if we talk about the practical challenges, it will help us now to also follow up on what to do. So let's talk about the practical challenges first.
Yeah, sure. So I think I'll probably start with saying that all of us, everyone watching, and most people would say that the constant thing that you keep having thrown at you is that, oh, this is a lockdown. Use this opportunity to learn a new skill, to bake a cake and read a book and improve yourself. And what I would say back is that it can become tiring, especially and take it from me, sometimes you kind of think, oh my gosh, lockdown is almost over, or we're still in lockdown and I still haven't done all these weird and wonderful things that people seem to be doing. And I would say people should not, first of all, try too hard to think about what they haven't done, but they should think about what they can do. And I would say definitely inject a lot of optimism into your life. For me, one of the things that I always believe in is that, and it's a quote of mine, is, and I say it to the kids, they're tired of hearing it, is that, there's nothing impossible in this world, difficult maybe, but not impossible. And on the basis of that, I would say to most people, think about, the practicalities of things. So if we take it, one by one, things like uncertainties and bereavement. So during this period, thankfully, I haven't lost anyone to COVID-19. And I don't know anyone really close that has. But, that is something that has come up. And, what I would say is that, even though I haven't lost anyone to COVID, actually, as we speak right now, my mom is in hospital. And that in itself is an uncertainty and a worry for me, because in this time and age with, the COVID-19, even though it's slowing down, it's still a huge worry to have my mom in hospital. And, for thinking about losing a loved one, I mean, my dad died 15 years ago and I was pretty much a daddy's girl. And so it really hurt me, for him to have gone. I kind of always thought of him being around all the time. And one of the practical things I was able to do is, aside from having my faith, because I'm a Christian, so I believe that because I'm born again, I'm going to go to heaven, and the people that are around me, they have the same sort of ethos. So we're all going to meet again in heaven one day. But even if you're not there yet, what I would say is that you can just hold on to the great memories that you have of your loved one. One thing that I've done is that my dad loved John Grisham books. And so we always had like a sort of competition. Whenever I used to travel for work, I'd buy a John Grisham book and I'll call him and say, "Oh, Daddy, I got this one, and we can swap it over." So even now he's gone, what I do is, anytime a John Grisham book comes out, I'll buy it and I'll read it, and it brings back all the wonderful memories. I've got pictures of him that I would look at, and it brings back all the great memories of him. I do know that other people that have lost loved ones have gone ahead and started charities in their names, things that make them remember their loved ones. So what I would say practically for bereavement, and is to embrace that, yes, they've gone, however their memory is still with you. I don't know, Ayum, what you think about losing loved ones and how that would impact you and impact people out there.
Yeah, I know that loss have been one of the greatest things that people have experienced during the period of COVID-19, because the amount of death that has been recorded in this short period cannot be compared to anything that's happened maybe in the last 50 years or something. I know we've had some pandemic in the past, maybe 100 years ago, but in the last 50 years, I don't think we've had anything like this. So I know it's very challenging for somebody that experiencing any kind of loss at this time. For some people, it might be loss of jobs. For some people, they've lost their health. They're in the hospital. Like Anna just mentioned, her mom being in the hospital. For some people, it's even they've lost their life or they've lost their ones. And for anyone that is watching us right now and have lost a dear one, we want to sincerely express our sympathy to you, our condolence to you. We know it's very, very difficult at this time. And I know that losing a dear one during this season is not the same like any other season. Because number one, you can't, maybe if they were in the hospital, you can't even be with them. And if you have to have a funeral, you can't have maybe like we Africans, we should have something called a befitting funeral. You can't have the kind of befitting funeral that you want to have for your loved ones. You can't have people to come around to comfort you the way they should. Because I lost my daughter last year, and 3 months later, I lost my mom. So I know the experience of grief, of bereavement, and I know that it is tough. But I cannot even compare what I went through with what people are going through right now, because I know that in my own time, I had a lot of support. I had people always coming around to stay with me and do all that. So when I think back, and I begin to wonder, people now that are losing people and they can't have people to stay around them, how are they coping? So we pray that God will comfort you, that God will heal that wound. And when all this is over, you'll still be able to celebrate that loved one the way you would love to. So I know it's quite a big challenge, and it's an experience that nobody would like to have. But now that this is what we are confronted with and we can't change it, we just have to find a way of making the best out of it. And like Amuna said, just allow God to comfort you. And I pray that He will comfort you as you open your hearts to Him. And then also find a way of remembering your loved one in a fond, loving way. Like for me, for my daughter that passed, I've just registered a charity in her name, Grace Miracle Cultural Foundation. And very soon I'm going to start doing things under that foundation in loving memory of her. So the love that I have learned to give to her and I have learned through her, I'm going to try to just keep that legacy going through the foundation. So that is my own what I have to say with regards to losing a dear one. And I know that it's a tough one. So what other practical challenge you want to talk about that you think people may be experiencing?
Yeah, and I think, probably after the loss of a loved one, it definitely is the loss of your income or your job, or even the way you work, the number of hours you work, which would then have an impact on your finances. A lot of people, that I know that I've, worked with, that, are customers of mine, are actually have been followed, which, even though on the face of it, it might be okay that, some people might say, well, at least you still have a job, but it's still a huge uncertainty. And then for others like myself, I still have a job. However, my way of working has changed. So the way I would normally work is that I would go out and I would meet with customers in different parts of the UK and have meetings and come back and then send information that they've required for me to send. It's also quite intensive in the sense that I have to, use the skills that I have from, in terms of like dealing with research and being up to date with all of those things. So, it's a different way of working that I have to do now, which is, using Zoom and, being online. So obviously, talking to a customer online is totally different from being face to face. So again, those are challenges and those are changes that I have had to deal with. So, in those circumstances, I think, it's something that it can be mentally challenging. Again, I will come back to my faith and say that, for me, when things happen like this, I would say to myself that, look, God takes care of the flowers by the wayside. No one's in the forest watering the plants. No one's in the forest putting manure, but they're flourishing, the flowers are growing, everything's going really well. So, if God can do that for flowers, how much more for me, who he's created in my own image? So, for me, I would say definitely my faith helps me. But for someone that is not quite there yet, I would say that with those sorts of situations, you need to now reevaluate yourself. You need to take a step back and say to yourself, okay, right, I don't have a job or I'm followed. What did I do? Or, what have I learned from being in that role? Do I want to carry on in that role? Do I want to change how I, interact with people? Do I need to get better at communication? What value can I add? And I think one of the things that people need to realize is that whatever job situation you're in or out of, you need to make sure that whatever you do is valuable, that whatever you bring is valuable. So even if you're not in employment right now, then look for things to do to add value to what you can bring to the next job, or that you can bring when you go back to work. So, for me, I'm having to do a lot of Zoom calls. I'm, creating initiatives to look at ways that customers would want to actually speak to me during this period. I'm trying to learn up a few things about the research, because within my company, we're dealing with customers who are dealing with creating vaccines for the COVID-19. So again, I have to make sure I'm up to speed with those things. And those are the sorts of things that I'll encourage people to do, whether you're in work, whether you're furloughed, whether you're out of work. Definitely lots of things to do to keep you busy. Ayum, I don't know if there's anything that you want to kind of share with us in terms of how work has affected you and how you do things.
Yes, actually, I've had like double side of the experience during this period, because when we went into lockdown, I started working from home because I work as a contractor. And I actually prefer to work as a contractor, because when I introduce myself, I say, even though I'm an accountant by nature, I mean, by profession right now, I am an entrepreneur by nature, because I've been doing business right from time. So I always like to do things and do other things. So because of that, I work as a contractor so that I can manage my time. And then when I need to maybe face some projects, I can take time off and face those projects. So when we went to lockdown, I started working from home. But like some couple of weeks back, my contract has to be brought to an end before the time it was supposed to end. And that was because the company was struggling. In fact, they followed maybe more than 80% of their staff, because the industry they are in is more of like a luxury industry. So their businesses wasn't doing well. So I experienced that by losing that contract. But that also gave me the time to also begin to pursue the things that are really my passion. So at the moment, I'm working on some projects. I just discovered like there are some books that I was writing that I've abandoned. So I'm working on those projects now. I'm also doing trainings, and I'm also doing my MBA program. So my hands are full. So actually now that since my contract ended, I've actually even been working more hours than I was working then, because I find myself getting to work maybe because I use a room in my house as my working space. I find myself coming there as early as 8 o'clock, and then sometimes I'm there till like 7:30 in the evening. Those are those evenings when I have to do trainings for people. So I'm still very busy. So I'm fortunate that even though the contract ended, I still have something to do to keep me busy. And I know that for somebody that is watching us here, maybe your contract has ended or your job has ended, or you've been followed, or maybe you may be watching us from other parts of the world where you don't even have opportunity to be followed, and you have lost your source of income. Because one of the things that keep coming to my mind when we're talking about lockdown in Africa, especially being in Nigeria, my greatest worry for people in Africa was like, how are they going to cope? Because I know there's no kind of welfare system in Africa. Like more than 50%, a large population of people in Africa get their daily bread from their daily hustling. So telling them to stay at home, how were they going to cope? That was my greatest concern. So I know that for some people it would have been difficult. At least thank God that most of those countries are opening their doors now. People are beginning going out to work. But we know it's going to take a bit of time for things to still pick up. So for people that have experienced loss, I know like loss of job, loss their source of income in one way or the other, it has also been a big challenge. And one of the things that we have learned during this season is the change. We've been talking about like how we have to adjust to working from home, how we have to adjust to social distancing, how we have to adjust to different ways of life. So change has been one of the things that we can say has been constant so far. So I want to ask you another question again. So now that we've been talking about change, somebody might be watching us right now and they are still struggling with the change, even though they know they are faced with change, they have to change. But the changes that maybe they have to change, like staying at home, they've stayed at home, but they are struggling, or they are struggling with change with regards to their job. How do I move forward now? We've talked about the period during COVID-19. So we're now looking at the period post-COVID-19. How do I adapt to change so that I can move on and I can begin to make progress as we move on to the period post-COVID-19? So what would you say to such a person, Ahuna?
That's a great question. I think, one of the things that I will start off with is obviously as we have kind of adapted to lockdown, a lot of people also have anxiety coming out of lockdown. Now, obviously, if you do not have a job, then what I would definitely say is that, as you had mentioned, Aim, in terms of like when you had you didn't have your contract, now you've actually become busier because you have decided to follow your passion and do other things that you've kind of kept on the side for a while. So what I would definitely say is that as the lockdown is starting to lift, please look at ways of reflecting and improving yourself. What can you do to make, again, yourself valuable and impactful? So one of the things that I've done, despite the fact that I was working, was to look at my personal growth. So we had an online session, so we had to be adapted to the situation, and we were reading, or we're doing a mastermind class based on John Maxwell's book, 15 Laws of Growth. And Ayum was the coach. And it was an amazing experience because it really allowed me to kind of think about what it is I do and how that can impact how I'm going to be valuable both to myself, my family, and to my employer or my business, whatever it is that I want to do. So I would say definitely take the time to do some online training, learn more about how you can be more impactful, look at ways of, finding a mentor or coach that would be able to steer you in the right direction, have, positive friends and family that will push you towards your passions. So the most important thing is planning. So whilst we can't, take control of change, we can definitely take control of our personal growth and development by planning, being intentional. And so I would say that, use that intentionality, if that's a word, but use that determination that you are going to make a difference. And please do not, set yourself ridiculous targets, right? Start small, even if it's just that, okay, with my new intentionality, I'm going to look at a website every day and just look at jobs. It could just be as simple as that. I'm just going to look at jobs. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to look at jobs. And then as you start to look at jobs, you start to think to yourself, okay, in my mind's eye, I can see myself in that position. The other thing you can do is go online and do courses. So for example, myself, even though I'm in science, I've joined some calls on with University of Oxford on the ways to cope coming out of COVID. So that was quite an eye-opener, because what it was interesting to hear was these professors, 10 years professor, 10-year worth of experience of, working in business and looking at how business affects society and etc. It was great to kind of get the nuggets. And one of the things that came out of that was being able to be adaptable, and how businesses have been able to move from, being just, for example, there was an example of Walmart that had some shares in an airline company. And what they did was, instead of then not thinking about the fact that people can't fly, they were able to use that, the shares in the airline company, to then offer it to customers for when they can fly, to be able to keep the business going. So what I would say is that think outside the box, think about ways that you can improve what you do. For example, what areas, what industries fared well during the lockdown. One of the things you can do is just look at the list that the government said are essential businesses, and think, if am I on that list, and if I'm not on the list, do I want to get on the list? There are lots of businesses that are starting to flourish out of lockdown. So yeah, in terms of, the things that you can do, those are some of the things, and I won't kind of go on about it, but definitely look at improving yourself, look at gaining a qualification or experience, get out there, network, get to know as many people as you can, because then you can then get information or a job opportunity if you do. What about you, Ayum? What sorts of things would you kind of be encouraging people to do?
Yeah, I think I will just emphasize on some of the things that you have talked about already. And I think one of the ways that we can make ourselves invaluable, just like you said, is to begin to add value to ourselves. Begin to add value to ourselves. Like today being the 68th day of the lockdown in the UK. If you translate that into hours, that would be like 1,632 hours since we've been in lockdown, which is about close to 98,000 minutes. And like a couple of weeks ago, when I did a video the first week of this month, when I was talking about where will you be post COVID-19. Then it was 40 days in lockdown, and I was telling us, okay, if you've been sleeping for 10 hours, you've been watching movies, you've been on social media for another 2-3 hours, you cook for another 2-3 hours, before you know what's happening, your day has ended. So when thinking about where we'll be post COVID-19 now, I think what we need to do is to take time to reflect. It's very, very important that we reflect. Where was I before COVID-19? So pre-COVID-19, where was I? Then during COVID-19, where am I? What have I been doing with my time? And then I believe when we take time to reflect, to know where we were, to know where we are right now, it will help us now to begin to position ourselves to where we want to be post-COVID-19. Because if pre-COVID-19, maybe you've been in a job, you've been there for maybe 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and then in the course of this pandemic, now things changed drastically and you lost your job, then that will tell you that nothing is permanent. Even though you thought you had a permanent job, you just find that any small situation can change anything. And that is why for me personally, I don't buy into permanent jobs. The only permanent thing you can do to yourself is permanent self-improvement. So when you continue to improve yourself, develop yourself, you find that in any season that you are, you'll be able to find a way of being valuable to that season and also adding value to yourself. So I want to agree with what Ahuna said on learning new skills. So if you've lost your job, or even if you've not lost your job, this is a time now to begin to learn new skills. Because like we just saw in what has happened in the last couple of months, things can change very quickly. And if things change this quickly, I know that more changes are going to come as we go into the season post-COVID-19. So the best thing to do now, just like Ahuna said, is to begin to learn new skills. I know a lot of people have been forced to use computers and use so many online platforms which they were not doing before, which is good. So begin to build on those skills, because whether we like it or not, post-COVID-19, a lot of things that have gone online are not going to come back to the way they were again. A lot of things are going to continue to be online, because now we've discovered that, doing things online is good. Like before COVID-19, when we started the first mastermind class, which is the training I do, we're meeting physically. But when the lockdown happened, we have to change online. And now I have 3 different groups that I'm training online. And now I'm just thinking about that. I say, wow, this is good. Even though I will still do maybe some physical classroom meetings, but I think I'm still going to continue the online session, because for people that are in different locations and I want to save time on travel, it helps them a lot. And that I've seen that is valuable. And I know that a lot of things are going to be online. So let us begin to learn new skills. In learning those new skills, we are positioning ourselves for the season post-COVID-19. And so I think that is what I will add to that for now. And as we talk along, and I know more things are going to come up, what we can do post-COVID-19. So we're talking about change.
I was just going to say that also I just saw on the chat, Faith mentioned planning. So yes, Faith, definitely. Planning is the key, as you said. And, the other thing that I was just going to say quickly is that when we talked about looking at different ways of working. So for example, we've seen that the restaurants have all been shut down. However, some of these restaurants are actually then using their initiative to sell food to people. So they're using Deliveroo, they're, even people just calling people and saying, oh, I need a pot of soup, can you please pass it on and, make some money out of it. And, even like you said, using your coaching skills and, being able to, hone in on that and be able to offer that as a service. And I have friends who have actually started to take up courses to look at coaching, because that's something that, again, was a passion within them that they've now birthed out as a result of this lockdown situation. So yeah, absolutely. It's something that people should really look at and try and do.
Yeah, and then you mentioned something when you were speaking. You said there's a course you are doing right now with University of Oxford on learning how to cope with life post-COVID-19. If I may ask, is it a free course? Because somebody watching here, maybe watching us right now, maybe interested in that course, they may be wondering, I can't afford it. So
yes,
is this still available to anybody that is interested? Because I'm sure a lot of people want to equip themselves. Yeah.
Absolutely. If it's free, do it. That's my policy. So yes, absolutely, it's free. So the University of Oxford that I mentioned, it was actually a seminar opposed to a course. So for that, it was like an engaged seminar where people were talking and contributing about what was going on. But certainly there are courses out there that are absolutely free. Even, like you said, there is no limit on location. So you don't even need to be going on courses in UK. Harvard is offering free courses on different things that you can then go. Can you imagine? You can actually get a free course at University of Harvard, put it on your CV and say, look, I've got this qualification. How cool would that be? So, again, look at those, go online, Google, type free courses, put in your dream university. Here's your choice, University of Cambridge, University of Oxford, they're free courses that you can go on. And aside from that, there are also free, other free courses. So for example, FutureLearn is something that I've used in the past. It's great because, all members of the family can actually go on. It's geared towards, universities use it as a way of doing research. And so as part of the research, you basically go on, you can do courses. There are courses about thriving through difficult times and through change. There are courses about, learning how to interact with teenagers. Well, Shimdi, sorry, but yeah, I have to kind of do those courses.
Okay, that is great. So at least we know that there are a lot of free
Yeah.
courses out there that you can do. So it's all a matter of going on the internet, typing in some keywords, maybe the areas you want to develop yourself. Maybe you want to develop yourself in the area of leadership. You want to learn management skills. You want to learn how to set up a business. Even on read.co.uk, there are a lot of free courses they offer there on learning how to start up your own business. So there are so many things that you can get for free right now. And even if it's not free, if it means paying for it, I want to encourage you to do so, because any learning you do is an investment in yourself. And where we will be post COVID-19, like I said in some of my previous videos, it depends on what you are doing right now. How you want to position yourself for the season that is coming after this season is what you are going to do to yourself right now. So even if you are in a job, don't be comfortable and say, oh, I have a job, I'm secured. Because from what has happened now, we've seen that people that thought they had security in their jobs, it has gone all of a sudden. So upskill, hone your skills. So even if you know how to do something, learn to do it better. Begin to think ahead of possibilities that could happen. Yes, you may be in a job right now, but what if that job goes? Or is it where you want to be forever? So begin to just think begin to think ahead of what you can do, how you can improve yourself. And I believe that as we are doing that, we are going to put ourselves in a position that post this season will be in a better place to be useful to ourselves and to take advantage of opportunities that will come. And then I think that you mentioned that there are some industries that are thriving right now. Do you know which industry do you think are thriving right now during this season of COVID-19?
Yeah, sure. So in my opinion, I would say, obviously, in terms of, healthcare, even though it has its risks, definitely it's somewhere that if you are in, then there are job opportunities there. I work in research. So again, a lot of researchers are actually, even though there is the lockdown and some labs are closed, some other labs are actually on still open and fighting or working hard to get a new COVID-19 vaccine developed. Aside from that, what I would say is even just go and have a look at the list that the government sent out as to the essential businesses that should still be there. So, obviously, it could be anything up to a garage, opening up a car business, or repair business to be able to, support people with their cars. I mean, one way you could switch it up is that, you could make it a mobile one. So instead of people having to come to you and being worried about, driving their car, etc., you can actually go to the people and do the work for them, at their homes if it's possible to do so. So there's lots of things that you can kind of look at going into. I also mentioned before that, people that were in the restaurant business, even though those have been closed, there is the opportunity to set up your takeaway business and be able to work from home, cooking and selling, obviously get the right qualifications or certification before you do that. But yeah, these are all things that you can definitely look into. What other things do you think we can add to that list, Ayan?
I think it's just to emphasize what you have said. And maybe what I will emphasize there is the area of creativity. We know that there are thriving industries, like the food industry is a thriving industry because we must all eat. So if you're going into food producing or food selling, we've seen that is an industry that is thriving. Even though fast food was affected in a way where, like you said, people that were creative find ways of being creative and doing deliveries when people cannot come to them. So food industry is one. Of course, healthcare is another one, which is essential. But we know that all of us cannot be in food and healthcare. So what we should be thinking now as we're going to the season post-COVID-19 is that how can I become creative in whatever I'm doing? How can I become creative? Because I know that my daughter does like wigs for people sometimes. And even this season that people are not able to come to meet her, some people were still able to post their hair. They order hair straight to her house.
Wow.
And she still does it and post it to them. So that was a good safe distance of doing business. So I think she wasn't the one that was rejecting some because she said, oh, I don't want some coming from some particular country. So she was the one so she wanted to do that. Even so as a hairdresser, you find that there's still some things you can do. You can still make hair for people, like they order it to your house. So it's all about creativity. It's all about thinking, how can I do what I'm doing creatively? And of course, we know that as businesses are going to begin to pick up again, professional sectors like accounting, like business consulting, they are all going to pick up because a lot of people are going to be starting new things, new businesses are going to come up. Some old ones maybe like crumble during this season and they may not wake up again. So we know that things are changing. So it's all about thinking creatively. Whatever I'm doing, how can I package it? And then another dimension I want to add to that is that in preparing for the season post-COVID-19, whatever you are doing, think of an online aspect of it. Think of the digital presence, because the digital world has come to become part of us during this season. So as we move into the season post-COVID-19, it's going to still stay amongst us. So you find that whatever you are doing, if you are doing training, have a digital aspect of it. If whatever you are doing, just make sure that even if you are selling food, have a website, have a way that people can contact you digitally, because you find that digital marketing and digital business is going to be a great part of our life as we move into the season post-COVID-19. So I think that is what
I was just going to
that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I was just going to say that that's absolutely valuable. And, in terms of what you were saying about being online, remember, guys, that at the end of the day, being online means that you have a greater audience, you have a greater market. So if you think to yourself that, okay, where you were only in Reading and you were targeting people in Reading, online, you literally then have the whole world. You can be interacting with people in Japan, in Singapore, in the US. You wake up in the morning in the UK, you're talking to people in Asia, in Japan or Singapore, and then by the afternoon, the Americans wake up, you can start to do business with them. So yeah, I think it's absolutely key. The only other thing I'll add to that is networking. If you are a professional or you're even a business owner, please open up a LinkedIn account. It's very important to be able to set up those networks, and you'll be amazed how people that you never expected you could interact with, you can do that on LinkedIn. So that's one thing I'll definitely say, push to get that in your life. A LinkedIn account is key.
Yeah, that is great. And I think I actually agree with that. And not just LinkedIn now, you can't be, I remember sometime, we're rounding up now. So if you have any question you want to ask, please put it in the comment box. We'll be able to answer your question or whatever contribution you have.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
and then we can mention it. If you have something you want the audience to know, type it in the comment box and we'll give it a shout out. Yeah, so in adding to that, what I want to say is that, like I mentioned, digital presence. So if your business is digital and you are not digital, it's going to be difficult for you to market it, and it's going to be difficult for people to see you as well. I remember somebody said jokingly, somebody was asking me about somebody that I know, and the person said, is the person on Facebook? So I said, I don't think so. So he said, that these days, it's like everybody have brought their goods to the market, and then you stay at home and say, I must sell from my house. So it's like the digital world now is the market that everybody is on. And if you are not there, you are going to miss a large part of business. And of course, for crying out loud, if you're on social media, it's not just for friendship. Make your social media also a form of business. If you're in social media and people on your that are your friends don't know what you are doing, you are wasting that network. So in as much as you are chatting, as you are having fun, make sure that you are also selling something on social media, because that is one network that you have, and the people around you need to know what you are doing. So yes, that is some of the things that we've talked about now in moving to the period post-COVID-19, because I know that very soon things are going to start changing again, and a lot of people are feeling overwhelmed right now. They don't know how to confront the changes that are coming. But I believe as you do some of these things, you will see yourself easing gradually into the season post-COVID-19. And you're not just easing to it, but you also see yourself making progress. So thank you once again for joining us. Tell us where you are watching from. Want to know where you are watching from. If you have a question, let us know.
We've got some comments as well.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. So I think I was just going to hi Nkechi. Thanks for joining. Oh, my sister's on as well, Emma. So and Chimdi as well. Oh, she probably heard what I said about teenagers. Oh dear. Anyway, she said Nkechi said I agree, the best and most important investment you can spend money on is yourself, which is great. And Sabrina, hi Sabrina. Sabrina says, yes, definitely adapt and think about the customer experience too. Be easy to do business with and think about what the customer needs. So I think that comes back to your point about, you know, looking to expand on what you currently have. I don't know if there's any other things you can see, as well. Oh, Junior, if you're not making money on social media, delete it.
I like that, yes. So I'm emphasizing that if you're not making money on social media, you're wasting that account, delete it. Wow, yeah, that's good, that's good. So if you have anything you want to say, we're rounding up now. You can just give us a shout out, any contribution you want people to know, just give us a shout out. We need each other at a time like this, because I know a lot of people are feeling overwhelmed. People are wondering now that the lockdown is going to be lifted, how am I going to cope? How are things going to be? And we also know that people are having a bit of concern as well. So we're just telling you that change is constant and things are going to be fine. As long as you are adaptable, you have an open mind, you will not get swallowed up in change. So make up your mind to embrace the change. Make up your mind to welcome it. And the way you make up your mind to welcome it is now trying to see ways, little ways that you can make those adaptations. Because as you make up your mind and you are open-minded and you are making yourself adaptable, you find that you'll be able to thrive in the season post-COVID-19. And also for anyone that's watching us right now that is not a Christian, that is not a born-again child of God, I also want to encourage you to come into relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. Because one of the advantages that we have as Christians is that when we feel overwhelmed, we can go to our Creator. We can go to God in prayers. And in the place of prayers, He gives us direction. He gives us comfort. He heals our wound. So that's another advantage. If you're not a Christian, yes, you can still carry on with your life, but you have an advantage in the sense that you have somebody that is a comforter that can comfort you, that can give you direction. So I want to encourage you that's watching this. If you've not yet given your life to Jesus Christ, I want you to consider doing so, especially with these uncertainties around, especially with this COVID-19 season, that we know that if things can change like this, then that means there is actually going to be the end of this world one day. And I don't want you to get to the end of the world and have regrets. So let us now learn from this COVID-19 experience as we also prepare for the end time. Thank you so much. Yeah, so for what will be your last word now, Huna? For people watching us right now, we've spoken a lot. There will be a final word to people that are watching us right now.
Yeah, so you know, for me, I would say please be encouraged. You know, a lot has happened, a lot of change, you know, which everyone is struggling or, you know, trying to embrace and adapt to. And, you know, it's not impossible. I mean, again, my quote again is that, you know, I strongly believe in this ethos. It's what guides me and, you know, it kind of propels me through life, is that nothing in life is impossible. Difficult maybe, but not impossible. And I take this from Matthew chapter 19, where, you know, there's the story about, you know, the rich man who wanted to, you know, go to heaven and ask Jesus, what do I need to do? And, you know, all of the things that Jesus told him to do, he said, oh, yes, I do that already. And then Jesus then said to him, if you want to be perfect, then you need to sell everything you have and, you know, follow me. I feel that for that story, that was the impossible that Jesus was telling the man to do. So, and it was an impossibility to him. However, it wasn't really. And maybe for some other people that had the same situation, they would sell everything and follow Jesus. But, you know, I think that, you know, verse 26 is poignant because it says, even if we think it's impossible, with God, everything is possible. And I would say to you that when you think about my quote about, you know, nothing is impossible in this world, difficult, but maybe, but not impossible, put the caveat of God in there, and then you would see that what I'm saying is actually right. So please be encouraged, you know, keep smiling. Everything's going to be absolutely fine.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. Thank you for having you on with me today. It's been a very good session from the comments here. I can see Tayo in the comments saying, thank you for this session. Very, very helpful. Proud of you, sis. I'm sure the person is talking to you, Ahuna. Okay.
That's the big sister.
Ellen, Gladys is saying it's been a great session. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. We appreciate the feedback. And Junior here is saying, embrace the change. Embrace the change.
Yeah.
Can't run away from it. If you run away, you're going to crash. So just embrace the change, welcome it, and be happy, and just take it gradually, like Ahuna said earlier on. Take it gradually and just embrace the change. And faith here is saying change is consistent through words. Okay, yeah, thank you so much. And then Chindi is saying, very well done today, auntie and mom. Great execution and lots learned alongside great looks. Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Yeah, so we thank you for the comment. Tresan said, thank you, ladies. Lovely session with good points to take home and ponder. Yes, please go home and ponder on this point. Let it not just be knowledge that you are hearing, but begin to apply it, begin to prepare yourself. Prepare yourself, because I think the word we've used most during this conversation so far is change. Prepare yourself to welcome change. Prepare yourself to adapt to change. Prepare yourself to make the best out of change. And I believe as you do so, things are just going to turn out all right for you as you move into the season post.
Oh, we've got another question asking, when is the next one?
Okay, we'll let you know. Just keep an eye on this page. We'll let you know when the next one will be. So thank you so much for that. We are glad you enjoyed it and you're looking forward to the next one. Yeah. Yeah, glad to say absolutely. Nothing is impossible. You only need to make up your mind and allow God to help you. Yeah, that is great. Make up your mind and allow God to help you. Yeah, Junior also is saying nothing is impossible. Difficult may be, but not impossible. Wow. So she likes that quote again. Difficult may be, but not impossible. So thank you so much. We're going to be rounding up now because we just want this to be for just about an hour. So this is going to still be on Facebook. For people that have missed it or joined us late, you can go back and watch it from the beginning. And we'll also be able to share it on other social media platforms as well. So thank you so much. And I just want to pray for everyone that is watching us right now or that will watch this broadcast. I pray that God will help you. For somebody that have lost anything, you've lost a job, you've lost a dear one, you've lost your health, and right now you're just full of anxiety. I speak the peace of God upon you right now in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. I pray that the Holy Spirit will come into your heart, come into your home, and begin to arrange things to work in your favor in Jesus' name. For you that is at a crossroad and you are confused which direction you should be going right now, I pray for clarity from the name of Jesus. I pray that you begin to find direction and begin to know which way to go in Jesus' name. So for somebody that is overwhelmed and you say you don't even feel like learning anything, we talk about learning new skills. I pray for the grace to go back and begin to learn again to come upon you in Jesus' name. I pray, Lord, that God will help you and open up your mind. Maybe you feel, oh, I find it difficult to learn. I learn and I forget. But I pray that as you now make up your mind to begin to go and learn, God will help you. And you find that it will be different this time around. You will enjoy what you are learning. You will see it applicable to your life. And I pray that the season post-COVID-19 will be a season of uplifting for you in Jesus' name. Whatever you have lost, God is going to restore it double-fold in Jesus' name. So thank you so much again for watching this. And please share it so that others also can benefit from it. So God bless you. And we'll see you again for another session like this. So continue to look out. And if you've not liked this page, please like the page so that each time we upload a new video, you'll be notified about it. So God bless you. And thank you so much, Ahuna, again for having you. It's been great having you tonight. So everyone watching us, God bless you and have a wonderful evening. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Good night.
Bye.